Hello and welcome back. I'm going to do a 5-minute or less quick video, tips on sewing. Okay, chalk. Chalk is an amazing tool. There are different chalks that you could buy out there, a variety of colors, especially in the sewing department. But I don't go there. I tend to go to the children's department and I buy sidewalk chalk. Not the big giant ones, but the smaller ones that you would use on a chalkboard. If your child is in the school system, then there may be a teacher that wouldn't mind donating her niblets to you for sewing projects. Alrighty, so you've got your piece of material and you are ready to do a sewing project. I'm going to go ahead and lower this down so that you could see it. Okay, using your chalk, you can mark on your material. You see how easy that was? Nice crisp lines. And when you're done, you either brush it away with a kitchen towel or throw it in the wash if this is something that you're gonna wash and wear, and the chalk marks will come out. Chalk comes in a variety of colors, so if white isn't what you're needing something with a bit more color, then go ahead and use one of the many varieties of chalk that are out there. Alrighty, my next tip for you is glass jars. Everybody has a glass jar. You don't think you do? Look in your refrigerator. You probably have jams, jellies, or preserves. Maybe you make pizza and you buy already made pizza sauce. It comes in a jar. Spaghetti sauce comes in a jar unless you make it from scratch. And even in that situation, then you have mason jars. Using these glass jars in your craft department makes for handy storage containers, and also it makes the most out of your purchases. I can't stand when my tape measures get all bent out of shape, turn into a big bird's nest, or that my plastic is getting worn out and my numbers are no longer visible. I put it in a tiny little glass jar, have had this jar for years, and my tape measures look like new. They no longer look like the crazy I must tape my tape measure. When you're sewing and maybe the thread that you're using doesn't want to stay on your sewing machine, go ahead and pop it into a glass jar, feeding it up out of the top of the jar, thread it onto your sewing machine and have this behind your machine so that it comes up without any stress or tension on your machine and into your machine so you can continue sewing. I've had a few that the manufacturer must have made a mistake when cutting the slits in the top or the bottom for you to, you know how it comes with little slits for your thread to get held on so it's not constantly unraveling. Well, I've had it where they've had them going in opposite directions, one on the top and one on the bottom, and I kept getting it stuck in the little slit while I was sewing, and I was afraid it was going to mess up the tension in my sewing machine. So what I did was I decided, you know, I've got this little jar here, pulled my tape measures out of it, stuck this behind my machine, and then I didn't have another problem for the rest of that project. Since then, anytime I have mistakenly bought excessively cheap thread, which that was probably why it was so incredibly cheap, either I don't use it for the sewing machine top, I'll use it only for winding the bobbin, and in that case I still will put this thread inside of the jar behind the machine so that it doesn't get caught while I'm winding up my bobbin. Alrighty, use your serger thread instead of these small spools. Have a bigger glass jar behind your sewing machine. Put your serging thread cone inside, and there you go. That was my 5 minutes or less. Shalom.